There's 5 ways I wish to share the concept of movement with you, with some ideas of practices. And I hope that you stay with me and learn about them, because from a aging confidently point of view, this understanding of these 5 movements, these 5 ways of looking at movement, is a very contributory way of living an extraordinary life, an extraordinary legacy life. So with that, let's get into the video. Before getting into the presentation on movement, I want to share 2 stories with you. The first one is about meeting a mountain biker and runner, and the second one is about transition and walking between coniferous and deciduous trees, and just presenting an idea about transition. Both of these stories link into this whole idea of movement, but setting it up in a way that is just a little bit different than just jumping straight into a presentation. So I hope you enjoy the 2 stories. If not, you can always scroll through to the beginning of the presentation on movements. You'll see a slide that says presentation on movements. Whether you're walking, running, or cycling, each of those activities gives you a different experience of the trail. And that came to mind a couple of weeks ago because I encountered all 3. So I was walking, and then with Georgia up front of me, sort of from the back of the camera to the foreground, someone came on a bicycle, a mountain bike, and I gave way, and the person just kept on cycling through, didn't say a thing. I went, okay, that's fine. Then the next corner, so to speak, on the path, someone was running towards me, and they gave way and said hello. And I just went, well, this is kind of interesting. So how do I experience the path while I'm walking? And that just got me into a little bit deeper reflection. And then I said, okay, if I was mountain biking, what would that experience be like? And then if I was running, what would that experience be like? And I just started to have lots of really great muse and metaphor conversations with myself. So I was just sort of came back to one in particular, which is this notion of the experience of the trail, is that if you're walking, I believe you can certainly experience a lot more because your head can move back and forth. Whereas if you're running, you're having to pay a lot of attention to where your footfalls are going and what's in front of you so you don't hit a branch. And then cycling or mountain biking, again, probably even more, is because you've got a little bit more speed going, but you're also maneuvering something that's below you. And I just went, wow, that's different experiences of the same trail. And I was just sort of equating that to life. We each have our own unique journey. That's true. We adventure together. And then, how is it that we experience that life? And I just have sort of caught on to that idea, and I guess that's where my journaling comes in, and shooting videos like this one, sort of thinking out loud about what's possible. Along the path, there are different forest textures. This one is more coniferous, and as I move down the trail, I start to encounter a little bit more deciduous. And I bring this to your attention because this is a reminder location about transition for me. And what I do is there are two trees here, this one here and this one here, that I touch. I've been given permission to do so. I've done this many times so that I can go through the transition zone that moves me through the coniferous, connecting with the deciduous, so that I get just a little farther down the trail here. And there's these two coniferous trees. Again, I have permission to say hello and touch them as my transition points as I move into more of a deciduous type vegetation, and that opens up into a little field, a grove. It was actually a garden for a log cabin, and I just thought that I would remind you about transition and the importance of transition in your life. And for me, I have to remember that there are three main types of transition: transactional, transformational, and transcendence. And transactional is about being for the world. Transformation is about being with the planet. And transcendence is about being from the whole. That was one of the ways that I've come to understand it. And so when I go through those transition points, in this case, between the coniferous and the deciduous, it just reminds me, oh, okay, so what's happening in those aspects of my life as I'm walking along? So this movement that I'm enjoying, this walking, brings ideas like that to the foreground as well. One of the first things that I think about when I bring the word movement into my vocabulary, into my sharing, I think of the physical aspects of movement. And right now I'm just making my way down, inching my way down to a little bit lower section of where I live. And there's this sense of physical activity, the actual walking. And sometimes I may have to look down, so I'm paying attention where I'm going here. But this idea of physical movement, to be able to, in a sense, get your heart rate up and get it going, to get your joints moving. I know I'm 6'7", so for me, if I don't move around a little bit and I keep tucking my legs underneath my desk chair, I get reminded very quickly when I get up. So this notion of being able to walk around and enjoy yourself and getting out, there's a lot of benefits that go with this sense of physical movement. There's this sense of fitness as a bit of an outcome that comes along with that. And I certainly encourage you to keep moving. If there's anything that I have learned along the way here as a solo ager, as someone who's aging, is keep moving all aspects of who you are and what you do. So that's the first way of looking at movement. The second way of looking at movement actually picks up on the word fitness. And it's a little bit of a different way of looking at the word fitness, because I'm encouraging us to think about what does it lead to? What's the fitness of movement? What does it lead to? And for me, there is this sense of seeing so many different kinds of landscapes. So it helps me to paint my portrait, to be able to get a better sense of who I am. Because one of the questions I ask myself is, when I first get up, what landscape do I see? Now, it's both metaphoric and real. I understand that. But there is this idea that if I'm going to be moving, what am I moving from or moving towards, however you'd like to express it. And for me, it's getting up and being able to see things in different ways, to be able to wonder and wander. So I enjoy my walks, but I also enjoy the opportunity through my movement, whether it's my fingers on my keyboard, on my computer, to getting up and going and cooking a meal. It's leading to something. That movement is leading to something. And I so enjoy that realization as I move forward. The next way of looking at movement, which would be number 3, is to think about of the activities that you engage in, where do they take you? So, for example, walking gets me out into nature and enjoying things. But if I was thinking about mountain biking and I was to do it along the trails, what would that lead to? What would that be the contribution? If I'm doing something that might be something like croquet, what does that lead to? If I'm weaving on a loom, what does that lead to? This notion of the movement that you're engaging in, the activities that you're enjoying, what do they lead to? And I appreciate this one because over the years, I have been very much involved in recreation. I call it recreation. And all the different kinds of activities from facilitating and mentoring, they all lead to something, this movement that gets me somewhere and those that I interact with at the time. So I wanted just to acknowledge the programs, projects that you get involved with, your legacy project, which is something I talk about quite a bit. What are they leading to? Where are they going? That's another way of looking at movement, the sort of collective sense of the physical activity and what does it lead to. Give it a thought and let me know down below what is it that you're getting up to and where is it taking you. I find myself just standing here on the edge, just looking where the sun is coming up into a valley around where I live. What this does is bring to bear the 4th way of looking at movement, which is from a leadership management perspective. And sometimes we forget about this if we're not actually leading or managing when we think we're in an organization, the organization of work. But during the day, we do find ourselves managing systems for ourselves and others, and we lead ourselves and others from certain kinds of practices. So let me just share a little bit through the lens of safety here. We manage safe systems for others and ourselves, and we lead safer practices for ourselves and others. And being able to manage it, to be effective in what it is that we're doing, so we're taking care of ourselves. There's a movement associated with that. But there's also that notion of the actual specific practices that we take up, these safer practices that we weave into what we're doing on a given day. Those are another form of movement as well. So when you sort of stand back and just take a look at the activities you're getting involved with, which is movement number 3, and look at it through the lens of management and leadership, movement number 4, you start to appreciate the effectiveness, the efficiency, the relevance of what it is that you're doing. So that's another way of looking at movement as you bring it into your life. The 5th way of looking at movement is social movement, involvement with community. I came to appreciate this one back in the 80s doing my master's, and I was looking at the environmental movement and how environmental groups interact through politics and geography and outcomes. And I came to really appreciate that and see all the different kinds of movements that go on in community where you can become an advocate or an actionist or an activist. There's lots of different ways in which you can become involved in those kind of movements that cater to sort of a combination of the other four ways in which we're looking at movement here, and being able to say, though, this is my contribution. I'm involved in community. This sense of civility, courtesy that I am sharing with others to make the world better, the planet wiser, the whole kinder. And I just wanted to acknowledge that this morning is the fifth way of looking at movement, using that lens to open up those kind of possibilities for you. And you may go so far as to take your legacy project and connect it to one of these larger social movements that are around you. And there are all a number of different movements that are available. I mentioned the environmental, there could be youth movement aspects, there could be homelessness, there could be water issues where you are, any number of social, cultural kind of issues that require some assistance. So give it a thought and see what happens. I'm enjoying the sun. And having just shared with you some ideas about movement, just to remind you, physical movement, the sense of what does that lead to, the aspect of movement, the idea of what activities you get involved with, projects, programs, what does they contribute, the sense of when you're managing and leading, what's that movement about, and this social cultural movement, these opportunities that are available for you. So again, think through those 5 ways of thinking about movement, and let me know what your thought is. What is you picked up in that sort of overview of the 5 types of movement? And remember, they connect with the path of Wellth movement as a way in which to say, okay, from my well-being, well-living point of view, and my contribution around health, the Wellth, W-E-A-L-T-H, and Wellth, W-E-L-L-T-H, and I'll put a link to a video down below if it isn't popping up around where I'm talking about right now, a link to it, so that you can take this notion of this wealth, this well-being, well-living, putting it in motion into movement in ways that contribute for yourself, but also contribute with being with others, and this notion of for the world, with the planet, from the whole. One of the other great reminders of how to bring those 5 areas of movement together is to think about bringing a little trash bag along with you and cleaning up the pathway. And it's a great way to bend over and get some physical fitness. It leads to something that is actually contributory. The activity itself is sort of like getting involved with a program, thinking something through over a little bit of the longer term. You are certainly going to manage and lead beyond what a lot of others do, especially those who leave the trash behind. And it is a way to contribute to the environmental movement, the clean town, clean city, clean area kind of movement as well. And therefore, you're going to become an actionist. And that is a wonderful way in which to contribute and be of service. Give it a go. See what happens. So that's it for sharing a little bit about what's going on. And I thought that what I would do is move into the Statsy bit and just update you about what's happening with the YouTube channels. Because if you are engaging with YouTube as a way in which to do your aging, your solo aging contributions, then maybe what I'm learning along the way will be of assistance to you. So, welcome to the Statsy bit. Yes, this journey with YouTube using long and short videos is turning out to be a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. In between these videos that I'm shooting here, these long videos, I'm doing lots of reading and watching YouTube videos about YouTube. And I'm pulling out some really wonderful nuggets that I'm integrating into my presentation. So that's wonderful, great learning. Now, in terms of what's happening for the channel Wealth Learning TV, the past week grew by 8 subscribers. So from last week to this week, 196 to 204. Now, I've got to get up to 1,000. That's what my goal is, and then take it up to the next level, up to the next level. Now, in terms of watch time, of which I need to get 4,000 hours within 365 days, I'm keeping track in this way is that currently, over the current 365 days, I have just a tad over 113 watch hours. So that's got to improve, and that does. As I gain subscribers, the watch hours do go up. So I would be encouraging you to watch the videos all the way through. That would be a great help for me, and I thank you for that. And of course, subscribe. Now, as this progresses and I find ways that really improve the numbers, the Statsy bit, I'll take a little bit more time and share some more insights with you in these Sunday videos that I'm putting up. But right now, I'm still very much in that learning, attempting to figure it out, see where that all goes. Now, if you have any comments that you'd like to share about how the videos are formatted, the editing that's going with it, the quality that's here, I would so enjoy reading those in the comments section. So thank you. That would be absolutely wonderful. So I just want to position also this presentation about movement in relationship to the path of wealth movement. To position this presentation on movement, it's connected to what I call the path of wealth movement. And wealth is about well-being and well-living to the nth degree. Movement, as per the 5 ways we looked at it in this video. Now, this is a path that is consistent in the work that Wealth Movement, which happens to be the name of the company, and we're bringing out stories about legacy, safety, nature, experience, educating, and it's all about being for the world with the planet from the whole. So thanks for tuning in and watching this video, and so appreciate the opportunity to share this with you. And I am going to encourage you to comment again about anything that you find interesting in this video. That would be wonderful. So with that, take care and enjoy all that presents.